Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Sasha. I run the marketing team at KNIME. And usually they don't let me up here, but since many of you might be hungover, they let me sneak in a 20-minute slot. So today I'm going to talk to you about the workflow. And even though many of the people in the audience have built dozens or hundreds, or in some of the cases of the presentations today, tens of thousands of workflows with their teams, I'm going to challenge beginners and experts alike to start thinking about the workflow a little differently. But before we get into that, I want to survey the crowd. There's a lot of speculation in the industry and in all industries around how much AI will actually do for us. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? When it comes to performing data work in the next 5 years, who here thinks that AI will do most of the work for us? Yeah? Some people? Maybe after Michael's presentation yesterday, many more of you than before? Okay, and who thinks that we're basically reaching peak? So AI will work a lot with us, but it's not going to be able to do too much more than it does today in the next 5 years. Okay. Who's too hungover to answer this question? Everybody, okay. All right, so mostly people are probably somewhere in the middle, right? Maybe it'll advance a little more, but I'm seeing some head nods, yeah. But we'll be collaborating humans and AI together. You're not alone. AI and machine learning researchers who dedicate their careers to finding the potential of AI fall all over the spectrum. So some people think we're reaching peak, and some people think AI is the greatest thing since sliced bread and then the internet. But when it comes to KNIME, the good news is that it actually doesn't matter whether you're on one side of the spectrum or the other, because skeptics and optimists share a need for transparency. If you're all the way on the right and you believe AI cannot be relied upon for correct or accurate data work, you need transparency into what AI is doing to correct it, right? So you want to be able to collaborate in the same environment as AI. You need to see exactly what it's doing every step along the way so that you could fix what it's doing if it's not doing what you want it to be doing. However, if you're over here and you think, okay, AI is going to do most of the work for me, you also want to understand the context so that you can make decisions based on the correct context. For me, I work in marketing. If I'm showing a report that is analyzing blog data, for example, I need to know whether that includes our subdomains or it doesn't. I need to understand if that includes paid traffic or it doesn't. So when I prompt an AI to do data work for me, I want to know what decisions it made that I didn't think of, so that I have all the context for talking to those insights or making decisions on those insights moving forward. And I think a lot of you are in a situation where you are talking about KNIME to your colleagues and explaining the value, and people fall all along the spectrum. And the nice thing is that you can always advocate to spread the tool, whether people believe AI will be doing all of your data work or very little of it. So maybe this is already reframing how you're thinking about the workflow, but to make it super explicit, the workflow is the best way to work between humans and AI, because every step that you make, every action that you take on data is right in front of you at a glance, not in hundreds or thousands of lines of code. It's right there, and you can see every decision that AI made along the way. So now many of you have built workflows, and you can share them with your colleagues, and people have transparency into what you've built. But now we're moving in a direction where we're building the workflows and we're being helped by AI. And soon, workflows will be built by AI, and they will be checked by humans, whether that's for accuracy or just for context. So let me take you through what it feels like for a marketer to start working with AI. And I'm just going to take you through one example, same example as before. I want to see how well our blog is performing, but not just based on performance on each URL, but I want to see based on some metadata I have. So I want to know what category is performing the best, or what author is performing the best. So in this blog metadata file, I have a little bit of information on the blogs, and in the bottom one I have the URLs and their performance. So I tell Kai, I want to join these two databases, these two data sets, with a common column blog URL. I'm not a data scientist, but I've spent a lot of time in a spreadsheet, so I have a little bit of vocabulary around how to get insights from data, but not exactly all the vocabulary to build a full workflow. So here you can see Kai told me exactly what nodes I need. It also told me exactly how to configure the nodes. And it answered my question along the side here, but it's also helping me here in the canvas. So I'm starting to build my workflow. I got the two files in a single spreadsheet, and now I'm asking Kai, you know what, I want to know, based on category of blog, how many times it gets shared on social media. And can you visualize that for me? Because I don't want to look through a spreadsheet. OK, there it goes. It's building a workflow for me. It's explaining what it built in the workflow for me. And I'm like, OK, this is very handy. So I know all workflows that are in the science category perform much, much better than the ones in travel. And so far, I think we're only 90 seconds into me building this workflow together with AI. Then I want to say, OK, you know what? I want to know which author makes the most shared workflows. Again, I ask Kai, please help me. I'm new to this. Whose workflows perform the best? And here we see James Wilson has the most likes, the most shares, the most comments. But what if those likes, shares, comments, what if those shares and comments are actually kind of negative, and his blogs are performing because he's saying something controversial or offensive? I started reading on the KNIME website that there's something that exists called sentiment analysis, and I want to know what it is, and maybe it's applicable here. So here, I'm asking Kai about a conceptual question. What's sentiment analysis, so I can see if it's relevant to my work? So here we're already seeing Kai, as it is today in KNIME, answering a conceptual question, helping me build the workflow, telling me exactly what nodes I need, and telling me how to configure each node. So that takes a workflow that normally would take me an embarrassing amount of time to build to a workflow that I built in 90 seconds. And it gave me exactly what I was asking for. And of course, Kai is multi-talented. If you have a little bit of coding experience, then he'll also help you write a little bit of code. So you kind of see where I'm going with this. For domain experts, it's really lowering the barrier to entry. Rather than hours, you're spending minutes. You can answer more and more questions, more and more deep questions. But the beautiful thing about a KNIME workflow in particular is the level of complexity of analytics that you could do with it, which makes it a powerful tool not just for data amateurs like me, but also data experts. Matching the expressivity, the extensibility, the abstraction of a coding language means that data experts can use this as a canvas as much as domain experts can. And it creates a shared language between the two of us and between us and AI. And I think what's particularly helpful in our environment, as there's more and more tools that come up onto the landscape, more and more data technology, is that because KNIME Analytics Platform is open, that means it will constantly integrate with the latest and greatest technology. OK, so where are we today? So today, Kai is our companion. Kai can help us with in-canvas recommendations, like you saw. It knows about nodes, it knows about components, it knows about extensions, and it has read all of our content and all of our documentation, so it's quite brainy. But what's next? Soon, Kai will also know more about your workflow and know more about your organization's workflows. So what does that mean? This is an intelligent colleague that is looking over your shoulder and making recommendations, both based on the mistakes that you're making and based on the common collection of workflows that are available in your organization. That way you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and you can follow best practices based on proactive recommendations from Kai. But eventually, Kai won't just be a mentor, Kai will be our colleague. So Kai not only will help us build our workflows, but Kai will be able to answer data questions. For example, I could ask him, build me a dashboard of blog performance. There's many decisions that Kai could make to decide what is exactly being analyzed, what is exactly the visualizations that you'll see, but it's going beyond the singular workflow. And there will be a workflow that will show exactly every step that Kai has made, so I can tell him that, no, I don't want this visualization, I want this in a pie graph or whatever, pie chart. So you can imagine now that as Kai gets more and more information, we kick into gear something called the AI-driven data literacy flywheel. So the less time I'm spending building workflows, the more time I'm spending analyzing. The more time I'm spending analyzing, the deeper I go with my workflows. The more workflows are produced from me as a singular person, the more knowledge there is in the database, so that there's less and less rework on the marketing team, so that we can get more and more analyzing done together with AI. And that's just me, but if you can imagine that multiplied times every use case, every department in the organization, that's moving really, really fast into advanced analytics in the enterprise. Thank you.